This is the RamanaMaharshi Satsang. I'm reading from and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. Ramana's teaching of non-duality is deep and profound, and I just want to share it. I'm reading and commenting on the Ashtavakra Gita, an important text of Advaita Vedanta, and it is a Nidhyasana text that focuses on deep contemplation and meditation to bring what is read into your direct experience. Today is chapter 18, verses 69 through 72. Ashtavakra in this chapter talks about the peace of a sage. What remains for one who is consciousness itself, who sees the non-existence of a phenomenal world created by mere thought of a name? Peace is natural for one who knows for certain nothing exists, who sees appearances are illusion, to whom the inexpressible is apparent. Rules of conduct, detachment, renunciation, asceticism, what are these to one who sees the unreality of things, who is the light of awareness? How can there be joy or sorrow, bondage or liberation for one who perceives non-existence and lights the infinite? Now let's break these verses down. 1869. What remains for one who is consciousness itself, who sees the non-existence of a phenomenal world created by mere thought of a name? This verse speaks directly to the heart of pure awareness. When you clearly see that the so-called world is just built upon mental labels and names, mental concepts projected as the world and the objects of the world, your attention turns inward. You recognize that what you are is not a body or mind, but pure consciousness. The appearance of a separate world loses its weight. You no longer chase or avoid anything because you see that the names and forms you once clung to never had any real substance. There is nothing that is outside of you, and nothing else you need. Nothing remains to be gained or feared. Ashtavakra calls you to see that what you believe to be solid, real, and important is built entirely on names, forms, and concepts. Everything you think of as this or that is only thought assigning names. Once you see that, you no longer give the world any power over your peace. You stop reacting to its ups and downs because you see they have no independent existence. Spiritual life becomes simple. Abide as what you are before the mind creates labels. This direct knowing dissolves worry, fear, and striving. You live as pure presence, unshaken by appearance. 1870. Peace is natural for one who knows for certain nothing exists, who sees appearances are illusion, to whom the inexpressible is apparent. This verse offers deep reassurance. When you see through the illusion of appearances, when you know deeply and directly that what seems to exist is not solid, not final, not separate, then peace doesn't have to be created. It's already here. This peace arises from the clear seeing that nothing truly exists in the way that it seems. It's not what you thought of it as separate or other than you. The one who realizes this no longer needs to interpret, compare, or control. Peace flows naturally like a river. Ashtavakra shows the source of unshakable peace. When you fully recognize that what seems real and separate is only an appearance in you, like the waves in the ocean, then nothing can disturb you. You don't have to fight for peace or protect it. Peace is what naturally remains when illusion is seen through. This is not intellectual denial of the world. Rather, it is knowing with certainty that all things are like reflections on water, appearances without substance. The inexpressible presence behind all appearances becomes obvious. Living from this place, you're no longer a victim of circumstances. Even in chaos, peace remains untouched. 1871. Rules of conduct, detachment, renunciation, asceticism. What are these to one who sees the unreality of things, who is the light of awareness? This verse dismisses the need for effort-based practices once true knowledge comes. When you have seen that the entire structure of reality is dreamlike and a mental projection, what need do you have for spiritual rules? You no longer try to become pure. You see that you are the light itself. Conduct, effort, discipline, all of it belongs to the dream. The one who sees clearly rests as awareness, and does not try to change or fix a world that has no true hold on you. Ashtavakra frees you from the burden of constant self-improvement. You may have spent years following spiritual disciplines, trying to become pure or worthy, trying to open the doors to knowledge. But once you know yourself as the light of awareness, these efforts are unnecessary. The very idea of needing purification belongs to the mistaken belief that you are something other than the light itself. When you rest as awareness, there's nothing to renounce, no rule to follow. You are already whole. This brings a profound relaxation to spiritual life. You stop trying to get somewhere or be something. You can simply be what you already are. 1872. How can there be joy or sorrow, bondage or liberation for one who perceives non-existence and lights the infinite? This verse cuts through the very idea of opposite. If you see that nothing truly exists as separate or fixed, then where is the room for bondage or freedom or joy or sorrow? These pairs depend on a belief in a real self moving through a real world. But once you see that such distinctions are imagined, you rest in the infinite as the infinite itself. You are not swinging between emotions or states. You are the unchanging, silent light in which they rise and fall. Ashtavakra invites you beyond duality entirely. The mind always swings between opposites, happiness and sadness, success and failure, bondage and freedom. But these only have meaning if you believe in the separate self that experiences them. When you see that there is no separate self, these opposites lose their hold. Where are opposites in what is just one? You no longer chase pleasure or fear or pain. You don't even seek liberation because you see that there was never anyone bound. You stand as the infinite itself, not as a position or achievement, but as the very ground of being. This is perfect freedom. These verses show you that what you take to be real, the world, your struggles, your efforts, are all projections. When you see through them, you rest as the infinite light of awareness where nothing is missing and nothing needs to be done. And now a Satsang discourse by Nome. What do you consider yourself to be?
What do you consider yourself to be? However you define yourself, such determines what you regard as real. What do you consider yourself to be? That you exist is self-evident. What else do you consider yourself to be? That existence always knows itself, with a knowledge that is neither perceptual nor conceptual, is also self-evident. Self-knowledge, therefore, can be said to be quite natural, innate. That existence is unformed, without birth, and consequently imperishable. It is then not a body, not a mind. Indeed, not individualized at all. That is, there is no sense of an ego to it. But what do you consider yourself to be? According to the identification, the definition appended to the self, so appear various kinds of limitations or bondage. Consequent to bondage is suffering, which is unnatural for anyone. Being unnatural, living beings naturally desire happiness. The happiness is innate, just as the existence is. One's own nature is Satchidananda, being, consciousness, bliss. One's own nature is the Absolute, the reality itself. What do you regard as real? What do you consider yourself to be? Do you know yourself? If you do not know yourself, that is, in your experience there seems to be something else besides illimitable being, infinite consciousness, innate uncaused bliss. There seems to be something else. Then, as the Maharshi advises, you should inquire as to who it is that does not know the self. That is, are there two of you? The self which truly exists, and another? The self that truly exists is eternal and infinite, formless without conditions, and utterly immutable. If there is someone who says, I don't know this, or I partially know this, but partially don't know this, or yes, but my experience is also something else, something dualistic, something formed, then who is that someone? What is the nature of that someone? If such an inquiry would be made, your own continuous experience would be of only one solitary self, the very same that has been declared in various scriptures to be Brahman, or God. Looked at from another angle of vision, do you regard what is objective to you as if it were you? Your body and your senses are objective to you. Do you regard them as you? As if you were embodied? Or you're some kind of sensing entity? What do you consider yourself to be? Do you regard your thoughts as definitions for who you are? Or do you recognize that you are the unknown knower of all the thoughts that are known? To regard yourself as a mind, thought, or as a body is to superimpose false definition, illusion, upon the reality of your own existence. All the while, your being, yourself, remains just as it is. For what is real is utterly changeless. Sri Bhagavan said that where I rises, everything else rises. When I subsides, everything else subsides. Therefore, for the knowledge of reality, for realization of the Absolute, one should abide in the eyeless state. Eyelessness is peace. And it is true. The question is how to become eyeless. Well, you don't really become eyeless. You find the knowledge within yourself that your existence is always eyeless. Self-knowledge reveals, it does not produce. The real self need not begin anew. It is already existing. And when you know it as it is, by a deep inquiry as to who you are, then detached from all, yours is innate bliss. Transcendent of thought, yours is infinite consciousness. With no imagined definitions to bind you, your state is that of pure being, not becoming this or that, but just being, which is neither a thing nor an activity, but just what you are. To be absorbed in what has just been indicated, simply and deeply inquire within yourself as to what your true nature is.
And now we'll take a few minutes and do what Nome said. Inquire. You exist. Notice that you exist, and you know that you exist. Now inquire, investigate within yourself. What remains when I stop identifying with the names and forms I perceive? Am I willing to question the reality of what I see and take to be true? Can I let go of effort and rest in what is already whole? Can I notice the one in me who remains untouched by joy or sorrow? Who am I? What is the nature of my existence? What am I? What is real? What actually exists? All right. And we'll close with our chant. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. All right. What did you get from today's verses in Satsang?
A lot.
One of the things that struck me the most was the questions you were asking.
Amen.
Can I let go of effort and rest in what is already whole?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just being so turned out to look out. The effort to strengthen the sattvasana, looking in. You know, I guess I haven't gotten to the place where I can let go of that effort.
Mm-hmm. You know, as long as you're tied to the effort, you're still tied to the body and mind.
Yeah, and as I look out, I guess I'm tied to the body and mind, you know.
It's hard to break, and it's hard to just do nothing and be nothing and let the space of that fill you.
You
It's
know,
funny.
when you finished, Richard, I just want to respond to that. When you finish, Richard, I'd just love to respond to that if I could.
He's finished.
Okay.
So this is about 30 years ago. I was smoking, not heavily, well, a pack a day, which is heavy, I suppose. And it was just a part of my thing. I'd done it since I was 20 years old. And I was driving along in Seattle, and I thought, I do not like the person this person has become, Robert Dalgleish. I just don't like it. And this is not who I want to be. And I threw the cigarettes out, which is a terrible thing to do. I was littering. But, you know, from that day to this, I didn't smoke. And it wasn't hard. In fact, about a week later, I thought, shoot, I haven't smoked. So what I'm trying to say to you is, at least for me, and I only speak for myself, I know this is not true, but it's not about discipline for me. It's about who I really am. And that whole experience has become much more profoundly nuanced since I actually am beginning to understand who I really am. And it's not just another form of Robert. It's not even anything close to that.
It's the space that's left after you get rid of that.
Yeah, amen. Well said. Well said. Yes, yes, yes. And so what I'm trying to say is this idea of effort is a big mistake.
Right. As long as you're tied to effort, you are tied into the illusion. And as long as you're tied into effort, you think you're going to get better.
Yeah. A better form of Robert. What absolute rubbish.
But
God.
it's where we all start.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, you know, because I can find that rubbish in me right now.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know. I've adopted that wanting to turn in
Amen.
effort.
Yeah. But it's so bloody pleasant. It's so pleasant. Sinking into this. We Christians call it the ground of all being.
Mm.
And it's so bloody beautiful. The only word I can come up with is presence.
And really, I think Ramana says is the most natural thing, right? The easiest thing.
Right. So when people
But
say it's hard,
somehow it is hard for us until we get real kind of deep into ourselves to let go of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like at least we got the grace that's pulled us here.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, thank you, Bhagavan. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Bhagavan. For me, also, thank you, Nome.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. His lecture today, his teaching today was just bloody amazing. By the way, you said thank you. I want to get a copy of that so I can maybe YouTube you give me a link. I'd like to keep that close to me and go over it again. This whole session was really something. I'd really like to see it again if I could.
It's in Richard's channel.
Okay, so I can go there today and pick it up.
Will it be on there, Richard, today, or do you have to?
And if you can't find it, I'll send it to you.
I pay about $10 a month so I can get an access to the transcript. I'd love to copy that transcript and read it too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank you. You're a well-kept secret, Richard. I think we need to get the word out.
Well, I think Ramana is the secret. I'm
Amen.
just trying to share what I can.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, thank
It is amazing. I mean, this whole teaching, every time I listen to that Nome, that particular one I've heard it probably 40 times. And it's new every single time.
Massive.
And, I mean, the whole idea of the teaching, and I as a person in a body feel pretty far away from it, but man, it's really a good goal.
His choice of words is really exquisite. I mean, this guy's it's poetry.
And it seems like he may be reading it or something, but he's not. He just speaks extemporaneously every time. It's crazy.
It really is quite amazing. I mean,
yeah,
become him. So he's the message and the messenger. Yeah.
Yes. And the reason it is so powerful from him is, he is speaking from his own direct experience.
Right. Yes. Oh, there's no doubt. He is what he's saying. Yeah.
Yes. I know when I first heard him, after studying Buddhism for 25 years and not understanding it deeply enough, I knew I didn't understand everything he was saying, but I knew it was the truth.
You could feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How much time I've wasted, talk about yourself, Robert, in all the other stuff. And this is just so simple.
Right.
Yeah.
And the deeper you get into it, the simpler it is.
That's true.
It's funny.
That's true. That is true. That is true, man. What you just said is true. Yeah. Gets simpler and simpler.
Anyway, thank you all for coming together today. And namaste, and we'll see you next week.
Namaste. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
See you, Bruce, Robert,
Bye-bye.
Richard, Carol.
Thank you.